One of the most important and integral aspects of Star Wars has been pushing the boundaries with visual effects and filmmaking techniques. The original trilogy did wonders for what people could achieve with motion capture. The prequels introduced the idea of mocap performance in merging CGI with practical elements and sets, especially with The Phantom Menace. And while the sequel trilogy and anthology films did a few novel things such as using gigantic projection screens to capture realistic lighting cues, as well as more authentic reactions from actors to the situations at hand, it was The Mandalorian which truly became the next Star Wars product that literally changed the way filmmaking was done forever. The Mandalorian, with the aid of stagecraft technology, has essentially created its own holodeck, and I want to explain why this is an amazing change in how stories can be crafted, as well as explaining why this new process eliminates so much tedious post-production work, and that it allows people to focus on the story rather than being engulfed with worry regarding if this will all look real in the end when this all goes to post-production. With this technology, you are already 90% of the way there in regards to the final shots that you want, and you are inside of this gigantic room with enormous LED panels the entire time. Now, to go back in time, the biggest hang-up that the prequel trilogy had were actors interacting with non-existent objects or in fully green or blue stages for arguably 75% of the production. If you happen to remember the stories coming out during the production of the Hobbit movies, which heavily utilized green screen and blue screen, you would recall the actor Ian McKellen having a kind of breakdown on set because of how frustrating it was to act across from a tennis ball versus actually acting across from a human being. There was no frame of reference to what was happening around the actor, and with the prequels and a large portion of the Hobbit films as mentioned, the acting and action feels a bit wonky, and I can only assume that that's because of being dropped into an artificial environment, being surrounded by just green and blue. Your brain knows that nothing is there, so you have to focus on two things at once, envisioning the environment that you're in, and then performing your scene. The Mandalorian eliminated needing to visualize anything. It's taken the idea of rear projection and then ramped that up to 10,000, now using real-time game engine renders that the actors can actually see and react to as if they exist in that setting in real time and in real light. The realism of these rooms is truly uncanny. When you look at Din Djarin looking at this forest from episode 5 of season 2 of The Mandalorian, Din Djarin actually sees that forest rendered in its final form. His performance, in my opinion, is therefore more visibly authentic, and you can spend less time as a director explaining how your actor should react to their surroundings. You've eliminated that problem completely. Now, to be fair, as I said, not everything in The Mandalorian was filmed in these gigantic volume LED rooms. There were some bits of green screen as well as fully built sets for locations, but as I said, the bulk of the show took place inside of these enormous LED stages in order to give the actors a way to actually engage in these alien environments, and I think it paid off tremendously. To my eyes, the volume and game engine renders look flawless, especially in season 2, and while I'm sure that this room takes a bit of getting used to as an actor, you can't deny the benefit of being able to actually see what your surroundings are rather than being surrounded by the color green. Now, in regards to the technical side of things, as an editor myself and individual who has had to rotoscope things, key out green from footage, and attempt to composite various elements into one image that looks real, that entire process is tragic and slow and very outdated. So this stagecraft technology by ILM dramatically reduced all of these compositing needs. Now you can achieve what is called in-camera finals for the majority of the shots you compose on set. And just a quick explainer of what in-camera finals really means, it's just that there is no compositing required to make the actor or set pieces merge perfectly together. What's in front of the camera while it's recording is the final composite before you go into color grading. With the background literally surrounding the actor, you already have all the natural light of the location that you are digitally creating. There is no more need to artificially create natural lighting around the subject in a compositing program. Again, as I said, it's just all there in front of the lens. And to add to this, you can shoot for as long as you want without worrying about lighting changes, such as the sunset, the sunrise, etc. You can shoot a sunrise for hours if necessary. All of these seemingly small things have huge payoffs because weather, location, scouting, natural lighting, all of this stuff is controlled in one room with a render engine. And the most critical aspect to this, beyond how hyper-real the LED walls look and how the lighting aids and in-camera finals as we previously discussed, is the fact that the camera and LED panels operate as if the physical camera was in that virtual environment being projected on the walls. So that means that as the camera moves with your subject, you get that realistic background movement, which is called parallax. Now, in the volume outside of the camera, this actually looks really bizarre, but through the lens in the final product, it looks very natural. So with 3 brand new gigantic stages being built, as well as pop-up stagecraft sets which actually were recently utilized for that Netflix film, The Midnight Sky, it seems that going forward, it makes more practical sense and monetary sense to use this technology. It's going to look real anyway, and you have complete control over your location and sets to a degree never imagined. You get to have your editorial, director of photography, post-production team all working together at the same time, as well as ensuring that what you film on that stage comes out basically perfect. Soon, we will be experiencing our first feature film using this technology via Taika Waititi. I imagine that the film will be using one of the bigger stages available to make sure that the cinematic experience is as impactful as possible. But I also imagine that if this film goes extremely well, then all studios will adopt this technology. Even the MCU is going this route with its TV shows and future films, like Thor: Love and Thunder. And filming on location will always be something that exists in the filmmaking world. However, just like people were initially dealing with the transition to CGI and movie making, or transitioning from 2D animation to 3D animation, the ILM stagecraft tech is the obvious next step in filming cinematic experiences. When you can have every stage of creative in one room working together as shown in the Mandalorian documentary, you become an efficient machine without losing the heart of what it is that you were trying to create. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's tech heavy, but it also has to do with Star Wars, and as an editor myself, a guy that loves post-production and editing, I thought this would be a cool video to cover and just to give you some information on how The Mandalorian is made. So as always, may the Force be with you, and AT-AT is signing off.